This is Grumpy SEO Guy, episode 34. How to think about SEO if you want to be in the 1%. You're listening to Grumpy SEO Guy, the SEO podcast that doesn't waste your time with nonsense that doesn't work. I'm the Grumpy SEO Guy, and I'm sharing with you the strategies that have helped me successfully run my SEO agency for the last 14 years. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my knowledge and experience, discussing tips and strategies, and trying to help you cut through the confusion that permeates this industry. If you listen to this podcast, you will know more about SEO than 99% of people on the planet. Ready? Let's get started. I'm the Grumpy SEO Guy. Let me tell you why I'm grumpy today. I'm grumpy today because most people have a horrible understanding of SEO. Now, I said at the end of the last episode that I'm going to tell you a new way of looking at SEO that could put you in the top 1%. And I was being truthful. But before we do that, my lawyer tells me that I have to say this right now. A quick disclaimer before we get started, everything I say here is based on my experience and opinion from 14 years in the industry. I don't officially know how Google or any other search engines work. Everything I say here is hypothetical and based on my experience. This podcast does not constitute advice or services. What worked for me may or may not work for you. Okay, back to the show. So let's begin by defining SEO how normal people think of it. And when I say normal people, I mean people that have websites, and I also mean most people in the SEO industry, okay? The majority of people in the SEO industry think of SEO like this. SEO is stuff that you do to your website to make it rank better, okay? And then if you ask them, well, can you give me an example? They will say something like, well, it's like having good content. It's like having title tags. It's like having meta tags. It's like installing some plugins. You know, like whatever SEO plugins you're thinking of, just have them be on the list, okay? That's what most people think of SEO. Most people think SEO is a change that you make to your website to make it rank better, okay? And you can't fault them for that since that's how it's presented in the SEO mainstream media. If you go online and try to learn about SEO, you're going to read a lot of stuff about, well, make these changes, have these meta tags, use these H1 tags. It's all stuff that you do to your website. That's what people think SEO is. They think SEO is a bunch of changes that you make to your website, okay? That's a very basic, very novice level understanding, and sadly, that understanding extends into SEO agencies. Most SEO agencies use this old, erroneous, and ineffective methodology and concept of SEO in whatever they do. I'm going to tell you a better way to think about SEO. In fact, this is how you need to think about SEO if you want to be in the top 1% of SEO professionals, okay? But before we get into that, I do want to mention something. This podcast is free, but it costs me time and money to create and host. If you're able to help keep the podcast going, or if you like the show and want to help support it, please consider supporting the podcast on Patreon, and you can do that at patreon.com/grumpySEOguy. Thank you for your support. Okay, now let's talk about how to think about SEO like the 1%. But it's not like super simple, so I have to give you like a little structure. Okay, so I just want you to imagine something, and this is gonna be a very simple example, but I still have to explain it first. So imagine there's 3 websites. Look, in real life, this applies to every website on the internet, but for now, we're only using 3, okay? Let's call them website 1, 2, and 3, okay? Just for this example, website 1 links to website 2, okay? Website 2 links to website 3, okay? Makes sense? I hope that's pretty easy to remember, okay? So instead of thinking, well, what can I do to my website to make my website look better in the search engines? Because that's not really how SEO works, okay? This is how I want you to think about SEO. Okay, we got those websites, right? Here's how you think about SEO. If I make a change to website 1, how is website 2 affected? If I make a change to website 1, how is website 3 affected? Okay? Let me give you a more precise example. If I increase the authority of website 1, how is website 2 affected? Okay? If I increase the authority of website 1, how is website 3 affected? Okay? If website 3 gets a penalty, how is website 2 affected? Remember, website 2 links to website 3, okay? That is a better way of thinking about SEO. Okay, SEO is not about what you can do to your website. You're so important. Okay, no. SEO is about if one thing happens at some point in the relations between the websites, how is every other website affected by that? Okay, now a very basic high-level version of this is, well, we want to rank better so we get backlinks from authoritative websites. Okay, that's like creating a new website. So remember, we had website 1, 2, and 3. That's like website 4 comes out of nowhere with tons of authority and links to whatever website yours is. Let's say yours is website 3, okay? So website 4 with all this authority links to website 3. How does that change website 3? Well, it would probably give it more authority because that's how things work, okay? As a concept makes sense. How does a change to one website, good or bad, affect every website that it interacts with? Okay, if website 1, in our example, if website 1 gets a penalty, website 1 links to website 2. Do you think website 2 might get a penalty? It might. It depends on what's going on. But you got to think about things like that. If website 2 gets a penalty, let's ignore, let's say website 1 doesn't have a penalty. Now, if website 2 gets a penalty, what happens to website 1? Website 1 links to website 2. Do you think that linking to a penalized website is good? No, it's bad. In fact, it can actually hurt your website, which, by the way, is another reason not to just order link packages from random people, because you never know who they're linking to. They might be linking to penalized websites, and they're also linking to you. If they link to a penalized website, they might get a penalty. And then if they have a penalty and they link to you, you might get a penalty. So you just bought a link package that might get you a penalty. Probably don't do it that way. Again, that's why we run our own portfolio, because we don't have to rely on other people to give links, because most people in the SEO industry are liars and are shady. So you need to understand this concept. If a thing happens, good or bad, to any website anywhere, how is every other website on the internet affected? Or if you don't want to think that big, how is every other website that it links to within 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 levels away from that website affected? And 5 isn't some like correct number here. I literally just picked that. Maybe nothing happens to a website 5 links away. You should probably start thinking about it and figuring out what you think happens, okay? So let's go back to our example, okay? If website 2 gets a lot of authority, website 2 links to website 3. What happens to website 3? Website 3 is going to get a lot of authority, right? Well, it's going to get some of the authority. Now, somebody's going to say, well, not if it's a no follow link. Just hold off on that, okay? This is not the time for that kind of discussion, okay? Yes, you might be right, but I'm not even going to go into no follow versus do follow, which isn't even a thing because it's just called a normal link, okay, right now. So just hold off on that. First, you need to understand this. If anything happens to any website, how is every other website affected, okay? Now, we used our small little example with 3 websites, but that's to make it easy to remember, because if I had said like 15 websites, I wouldn't have been able to remember all of them, and probably you wouldn't have either. So just like 3 websites. So let's do it again. Website 1 links to website 2. Website 2 links to website 3. If website 1 gets more authority, what happens to website 2? Well, website 2 is also going to get more authority. Why? Because website 1 links to website 2. Now, website 2 just got more authority. So what's going to happen to website 3? Remember, website 2 links to website 3. Website 3 is also going to get more authority. Why? Because website 2 has more authority and website 2 links to website 3. Okay, let's do a different example. If website 2 gets a penalty, what's going to happen to website 3? Well, website 2 links to website 3. If website 2 gets a penalty, website 3 might also get a penalty, okay? But what's going to happen to website 1? If website 1 links to website 2 and website 2 has a penalty, website 1 is now associated with a penalized website. Website 1 might also get a penalty. So let me just say this again. SEO is about what happens to this website. Is that going to affect other websites, and in what way? Okay. SEO is not about, I'm going to change my content. Let me tell you something. Okay. If website 2 changes its content, nobody on website 1 or website 3 cares. Okay. If website 2 installs an SEO plugin, and by the way, I don't have an opinion. Like, if an SEO plugin helps you make better content or something, then use it. That's cool. Okay. But it's not going to get you to the top of the search engines. So just so you know. Anyways, if website 2 installs an SEO plugin, website 1 doesn't care. Neither does website 3. Okay, that doesn't matter. And nothing's going to happen to website 2 anyway. It's not going to go to the top of the search engines. It's not going to change its content and magically boost its rankings because, oh, well, now the content is good and therefore it deserves to rank. No, that's not how SEO works. So if website number 2 changes its content, probably nothing's going to happen to it, and probably nothing's going to happen to website 1 or website 3, unless, of course, it like changes content and gave itself a penalty somehow, like a keyword stuffing penalty, which you know all about from listening to episode 2, right? I thought so. Go listen to episode 2 if you haven't listened to it. It's all about penalties, what they are, how to avoid them, and how to recover from them. Anyways, now, if website 2, instead of wasting its time with meta keywords and H1 tags, okay, look, the argument could be made that H1 tags are kind of useful, but just go with me for now. Like, if website number 2, instead of paying attention to that stuff, actually does something to increase its authority, and I mean authority as in like getting backlinks from other websites that have authority, okay? If it does that, what's going to happen to website 1? Well, website 1 now links to an even higher authority website, so that's pretty cool. It's definitely not going to hurt it. There's some theories on how that might help website number 1, but we're going to avoid talking about that for now because that's kind of a different topic. Okay. And if website 2 increases its authority, what's going to happen to website 3? Well, website 2 links to website 3. So website 3 will get more authority too. Okay. So that is a better way of understanding SEO. Now, this was pretty short, but I actually think this might be the best episode as far as like knowledge of SEO goes that I've released. So we're going to end it anyway because this episode, I think, was so significant that I don't even think there's anything else that I can add to it that would make it more valuable. I mean, like, if you understood this episode, you're literally in like the top 1% of SEO professionals. So great work. Not even kidding. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoy this podcast, please leave a review. It would really help the show out. I hope this episode was helpful. If you have any questions or want to suggest a subject for a future episode, you can contact me on Reddit. My username is Grumpy SEO Guy. You can visit the Grumpy SEO Guy subreddit, or you can email me at hello@grumpyseoguy.com. If you email me, please either whitelist my email address or check your junk folders, because I've been told that my replies are going into the junk folder, and it's probably because we're talking about things like SEO and backlinks, and I think those words will classify an email as spam. And if you want to support the podcast, because it's the best source of SEO information on the planet and it's free, you can do so at patreon.com/grumpy SEO guy. And I will talk to you later. You're listening to Grumpy SEO Guy, the SEO podcast that doesn't waste your time with nonsense that doesn't work. Join us next Wednesday when we talk about everything you need to know about SERP trackers, why you need to be using one, and why you're not even doing SEO if you're not.